It's a little known fact that my father can actually say the word cinnamon, even though he totally told a 5-year-old repeatedly that he couldn't.
Daddy wasn't finding a bow wow. Daddy wasn't finding a bow wow. I love my little cat. I'm very fond of that. I'd rather have a big bow wow 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 wow. Daddy wasn't finding a bow wow.
Welcome to the Mocciaverse, a podcast as epic as my dear old dad. That's him over there. I'm Linette,
And I'm Skip.
the famous Skip. I also knew your name early because of another one of your famous bits when I would say, I'm hungry, and you would say,
Nice to meet you. I'm Skip.
oh my God. Any child who had a father who did that can relate and also just felt a little shiver.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much. So this is our podcast. It's about us. It's about stuff we find interesting. It's about cool, weird stuff in general. And that's the TLDR on that one. Goodbye, folks. Thanks for listening. Love you. The greatest gift you ever gave me, Dad, is my gift of sarcasm. I really treasure it.
I can tell.
Yeah. No, actually, I do. So,
Yeah.
folks, you might be wondering, who are we? Where do we come from? What are we doing here? And you may also be asking, why am I listening to this? So, I mean, if you don't know why you're listening and are still listening, first of all, thank you. I appreciate that. But second, I can't tell you the answer to that because that's on you. So that's a you problem. You should at least listen long enough to find out what the hell I just meant by the cinnamon thing. So we're gonna tease that a little bit. Maybe a couple episodes, you think, Dad?
Yeah. Okay.
We should totally make them wait forever to find out what I can't say cinnamon was referring to.
And keep them wanting for more.
Yeah, exactly. Now we'll probably tell you in the next episode. So, but you have to listen. So please listen. So we're a father and daughter, but we never received any Father Daughter of the Year awards, which I think is a glaring oversight on the part of those relevant committees on those subjects. Maybe they're just waiting for the right time to give it to us. Maybe a lifetime achievement award sort of thing. Like, I'm sure they're just working on the montage video, gathering all the interviews and such. And supply chains haven't really been the same since COVID. So I think maybe the actual material for the award is on back order. That's what I'm going to go ahead and tell myself. So in the meantime, I think that's the case, right?
I believe so. I think they have to farm the material out of the ground and all that stuff. So.
Yeah. It's non-GMO award material, so it takes a little more extra effort and money. Right. It's got a good carbon footprint.
That's right.
In the meantime, we can carry on with the show because why not? And maybe it'll catapult us up the chain a little bit more, and just in case there are other contenders, although I can't really think of any. Can you?
No. I can't think of any right off the top of my head. I mean, we should really talk about what we think our show might be.
That's a really good idea. Let's do it. So I'm a bit of a history nerd. Sometime in early adulthood, I realized history wasn't actually anything at all like the classes they taught me or the books they taught from. I mean, in fact, I learned that there was other histories, not just American history, if you can believe that. I learned that even American history has more in it than the Salem witch trials and the Civil War. And that one time that we, as a country, fixed World War II, right?
Yeah, we fixed that problem. That's right.
Yeah. Okay. This is not a political podcast. My father and I cannot be trusted to discuss politics in front of others. That's just for us.
Absolutely.
I do love history, though. I'm fascinated by so much of history. When I'm in a happy mood, I love all the quirky, weird stories, the strange things people did and happened to them. And then when I'm feeling sort of like deep and pensive, I'm fascinated by the horrible things that have happened and trying to sort out why that might have been, how much it seems to repeat the same themes over and over again. Like, I used to think that people from like the quote olden times, which is any time really that isn't like right now, but I used to think they didn't really know anything, therefore didn't really think much or feel as much or act the same way. I thought they were like cardboard cutouts of like people, but learning that it was sort of the opposite and that people have always sort of been the way that people are. It's really mind-blowing, and it's always kind of exciting to me. It's weird, but it's cool. I don't really pretend to be an expert on history. My disclaimer here and now for everybody to hear, just take a note, is that I'm probably gonna definitely make mistakes and mispronounce things and misremember things a lot because my memory is kind of Swiss cheesy. I'm super old, right, Dad?
Oh, dirt older than?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm older than my dad, actually. I don't ask. It's just a thing that happened.
Yeah.
And of course my mind is also like overstuffed with trivia and song lyrics. Like there's these song lyrics that'll be of no use to me, but they're there and they're never gonna leave. So there's no room for doing things absolutely right. But we both love trivia. We love general knowledge. This is mostly what we end up talking about, especially that kind of stuff that starts with, "Hey, did you know?" I'm that person that has a habit of saying that 1,000 times a day in mixed company, like whenever literally any subject comes up. So I'm either really interesting, in which case, welcome to the Mocciaverse, or really infuriating and tedious, in which case, thank you for trying out the Mocciaverse, and I look forward to all your snarky emails. I also, it's just a thing, right, Dad?
Yeah,
You
oh
know?
yeah, just the thing, sometimes when you think about it, when you say tedious, I always think that when you really get into the minutia of a subject, if you saw the person on the other side, you could almost hear their eyes rolling, you know.
And I don't get it. I'm like, why aren't you fascinated by this? Why? What is your problem? And when I find somebody who is fascinated, like usually it's like a new group, like if I start a new job
Mhm.
and they are like, wow, you're so smart, you know stuff. I'm like, yeah, I'm so smart, I know stuff. But yeah, I mean, you and I both love learning the origins of things, where words come from, why we use certain phrases. So we're going to talk about that a lot. Which cultural influences caused us to do and think some of the things we do. It's fascinating to me. I know it's fascinating to you. I think we're also just going to have a good time spending time with each other, and then with all of you eavesdropping. So that's fun, terrifying, but fun.
Yep.
We're totally going to share our memories with each other, and I if that's a thing you like, you're going to hear a lot of that. Like there's a lot of sort of in jokes with us, there's a lot of in stories, weird ones, sweet ones, funny ones, but I can't wait to give you a little window into our minds and all our collective stuff. And you're all going to learn how to pronounce Yastrzemski. So you're going to learn more about that, about Carl Yastrzemski, later on. And also dad jokes, right?
That's it. More dad jokes. That's
Dad
right.
jokes. I'm sorry. There will be dad jokes. That's just the way it is. It's a dad pod. That's what you get. And the thing about that is, generational gaps tend to create the kind of stuff that dad jokes are made of. So there you are. And, they're not all going to be from my dad, but, they're dad jokes. They're just grown worthy dad jokes.
That's right. Yep. Always warning your friends when they come over. Okay, I got to tell you about my dad.
Yeah, geez, don't listen to him. God, it's so embarrassing. Dad, just
if-
drop me off like 2 blocks from the school,
Right,
okay?
right. And if you start laughing, you're just going to encourage them. So
Yeah, don't laugh. And by the way, rolling your eyes encourages him too, so you're kind of screwed either way.
yep, yep,
So good luck to you.
yep.
So we're not professional researchers. I don't want people to think that this is like a history podcast that's going to be having a lot of good citations, sources. Not surprisingly, most of my initial jumping off point has been scholarly journal Wikipedia. That is a quote, an homage to one of my favorite podcasts, which is the Bechtel Cast. If you're interested in hearing about movies seen through a feminist intersectional lens by two really funny people, at least one of which is from Massachusetts, which is important, because Massachusetts is the best state that we all eventually leave and come down to Florida from. But if you're interested in good discussions about stuff like that, you should check out the Bechtel Cast. But yeah, scholarly journal Wikipedia is our main source. We're not professional researchers, so we make mistakes, wrong assumptions, not get the whole story. In which case, I do again look forward to your emails. But snarky is fine. But if you're gonna be nasty, like I'm either gonna just ignore it, maybe go to therapy over it, or I'm gonna call you out and make fun of you on my podcast. So I don't know if you like that. That's cool. We're just trying to have fun here, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. We're not academics. We're just interested in stuff. You and I, Dad, we both read a lot. We love to learn. We don't want to ever stop learning. And we can't wait to learn with you all and maybe teach you a thing or two. Does that sound accurate, Dad?
That sounds pretty accurate. I think hopefully with the things that we will be talking about, they may come as a surprise to you, but then again, they may not. It may just revive a memory for you, and hopefully a pleasant memory.
Yeah, pleasant memories are always good.
Yeah.
So the song. Should we talk about the song?
Yes, you did the research on it, so you
I
come up with it.
did.
Yeah.
I did. So you might be wondering about the scratchy old timey tune that you heard at the top of the show. Of course, it means something. That's why I chose it. So the first thing is I really love old music. I specifically love the genre British music hall, which is like the British version of our vaudeville, or probably the precursor of vaudeville, or maybe vaudeville is our version of British music hall. But I'd love to talk about the genre more at some point because I love it. But basically, it was a mishmash of exaggerated acting and sketches, catchy songs that the audience was encouraged to join in on, and bawdy humor, which is my favorite. The song I picked isn't bawdy. It's more a kid type of thing. It's actually still a very common children's song in the UK, and it's one of those things that's sort of in the atmosphere of their childhood there. I think it's cute. It's funny in a way that the kids, kids are funny about the way they think about things. But wait, there's more. So the song is called Daddy Wouldn't Buy Me a Bow Wow. And it was sung by Silas Leachman. It was recorded on phonograph in, I think, 1892. It was performed in the music halls for years, probably before the recording. And it's about this kid who, when they asked why they carry around their pet cat everywhere, the answer turns into kind of a stompy, tantrumy, kid defeat kind of explanation. Daddy wouldn't buy me a bow wow. So there's a story behind that for us, and it's a very us story. And so I'm going to have you, Dad, tell your version of the story, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, it's not a very long story, but it's a story that has damaged my daughter for life. Anyway,
Yep, exactly.
yeah, we were visiting a pet store in the mall, at Easter time, and a lot of times we'd go to the mall and just swing into the pet store to see what they had going on. And it was Easter time, and they had a display in the middle with a little cage, open cage where they had bunnies, and they could allow people to pick up the bunnies and pat them. So Lynn naturally picked up one and was petting it. So right away she said, Dad, I'd like to have this bunny, please. And uh, being a being a parent of being aware of what it would be, what we should be in for, I said no. And personally thought not much of it, but still to this day, she's damaged by my refusal. Someday she's gonna get her bunny.
That's right.
Yeah.
Damn right I'm going to get my bunny. Well, here's what happened on my side of it. I really wanted that damn bunny. And
Yeah.
I said, can I have a bunny? And you said no. And I'm like, please, 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 bunny. And you said no. You had to say no like 5 times in the store.
Wouldn't surprise me. Yeah.
And I didn't just leave after you said no. I started crying. And I would not stop crying all the way home. I cried at the house. I cried forever and I wouldn't stop crying. And I think I made you cry because I was crying so much.
Yeah, it's always tough being a parent. When you make a decision that you look at it, you've looked at it more long term than the child has, and it is tough to make that decision. But you do it, and then you just try not to show that you weakened in your position.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Imagine if you'd just been like, okay, fine, we'll get a bunny. And then like, something terrible happened. And that would be a holy war.
Guaranteed if something happened to the bunny, it would be my fault. So
Oh, absolutely. Because of the birds.
that's because of the birds. That's absolutely correct.
Because of all of the parakeets that you killed.
Yes, well, we had at one point we had parakeet, and parakeets are like, really, they don't really do anything.
No, they're kind
And
of nothing.
nothing, yeah. And we had a parakeet, and kids always try to get it to say something, and naturally it didn't do that. And then the bird passed away, and we buried it. And almost from the minute that we buried it, they were asking for another parakeet.
Mhm.
And I said, okay, guys, we just have to wait a while. And then, but they kept up, and we got another parakeet. And within a couple of years later, we had the kids went away for camp, and while they were gone, all of a sudden the parakeet just flopped over and died. And
Probably pining for the fjords.
that's right. So when the kids came home, they swore up and down that I killed the parakeet.
Oh man.
Yeah,
That's that kind of bothers me actually, because what must you think of a person to accuse them of murdering your pet while you're gone just because you had initially not wanted him to get the pet in the first place? You're not a monster.
right, exactly. And it's if you've never seen like parakeets, I mean, they obviously have a finite life, and
Yeah, like
to see it,
hamsters.
yeah, you see them it was just standing there 1 minute, next minute it flopped over. So okay, and then you just remove all the evidence, and obviously when they come in the house, they see right away that there's no bird cage.
Well, at least you didn't do like the sitcom thing and try to get one that was exactly the same, and maybe we wouldn't notice.
Yeah, that's true. Or worse yet, a stuffed bird. So.
Just stick a stuffed bird into cage and be like, I don't know.
I don't know. It just
Or
hasn't done anything for days. I don't know what's.
or maybe set up the dead bird like on the perch so that like when we come home and we touch the cage, it falls down and we think we killed it. It's like, oh, what did you do? Oh, it's okay.
I didn't think
guess
that
it
far
just
ahead, but
died.
yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh. That's like the fish story that's probably fake, that the fish came back to life after it was flushed.
Actually, that did happen.
Oh, did it
We,
happen? I
yeah,
thought I
we,
couldn't tell depending on who
yeah,
told it. I thought it was
yeah,
fake.
we had gone to a fair and got one of those fishes that they had in a plastic bag,
Yeah.
and we put it in a fish bowl, and I don't know, some amount of time the fish died, so we ended up flushing it down the toilet, and the toilet had the blue stuff, whatever it was, to clean the toilet,
Yeah.
and put it in the toilet, and then the thing started flopping around again. So I was like, okay.
So it was just resting.
It was taking a break, it needed some chemical stimulation to get it going again.
That's kind of that's pretty awesome actually. I always thought that it was like, no, it didn't really happen that way. I thought my mother made that up.
No, that's how it happened. Then we put it back in the fishbowl. It didn't last much longer, but it was.
I was gonna
it
say it lasted 30 years after that, and it got huge. It's now in a koi pond somewhere.
And they've done a monster story about it. Anyways,
That would have been awesome. All
yeah.
right, that's funny. Okay, so yeah, pets, and so pets is where that leads me to further explanation of why I picked the song, because I know the song is about a dog, because Bow Wow is a dog, but it just reminds me so much of that moment when Daddy wouldn't buy me a bun.
Yeah.
I guess that's really part of it. That's like a huge part of it. And as soon as I heard that song, I was like, yeah, I hope he likes it, because that's gonna have to be it.
That's for true.
Yeah, it works.
At
And
least
so
for
that's
us.
for us. And you know what? If it works for us, that's all that matters. It's our podcast. If you want to have a podcast that's about all the stuff you like, then make your own podcast. Thank you very much. So there you have it. So that's our offering to you folks. I mean, I hope you keep listening and enjoy what you're here. And I hope you come and hang out with us as we figure it out. We're going to be available on all the podcatchers, which you might already know if you found us. Okay. As well as I think we're going to eventually do YouTube. I don't know if we're going to do video on YouTube, because I'm really self-conscious about that, but you can do just audio on YouTube. Sometimes you put like the little sound wave up there, which is interesting to look at, but there's a lot of podcasts on YouTube. So we might be adding that as a feature. I would love for you guys to send us an email at mocciaverse@gmail.com. And I know that's hard to spell, so I'm going to spell it for you. It's Mocciaverse at gmail.com. And when you write to us, let us know that you're out there. Send us a comment or a suggestion. You can suggest future topics of discussion. Like I said, we're going to cover interesting stories from history. We're going to cover trivia. We'd like to cover, origins of phrases, origins of words, famous last words, lots of interesting kinds of things. If you find something interesting you'd like to hear us talk about, shoot us an email about that. You can shoot us praise. Praise is good. I mean, it's better if you praise us by rating us on, Apple Podcasts, Apple Music, whatever they're calling it nowadays, or any of your other podcatchers that allow you to rate us and write a comment, a nice one, please. Thank you very much. We just want to hear who's hearing us. We just want to find out who's hearing us. You can send pictures of your pets. You can send me bunny pictures. You can send me a bow wow. Don't buy me a bow wow, though. I have 3 cats and I can't have a bow wow. I really don't want a bow wow. Daddy wouldn't buy me one for good reason. Daddy wouldn't buy me a bun bun, but that's okay. Yep. I actually don't have room right now in my apartment for a bun bun, but I will. You just mark my words here. I'm putting this on the internet. I'm gonna have a bunny.
Sooner or later. Yeah.
Doesn't matter how many times you say no. I'm a grown-ass adult. I'm getting a bunny. I have to convince my partner now.
I'll show that'll shows to go, yeah.
Yeah, so then like Richard wouldn't buy me a bun bun because he keeps saying no. He's like, no, I'd rather get another cat. I'm like, well, okay, I'm open for other cats, but 3 is a lot for an apartment, so we'll do that. So anyway, getting back to it, we actually would really like to eventually have other content. Like we'd like to provide bonus content. If people are listening, if people are out there, we'd like to launch a Patreon account. Patreon is a little site where you can sponsor your favorite show for like a couple of dollars a month. And you get little bonuses. You get bonus episodes that nobody else can hear. Sometimes you get episodes early. You get discounts on merch because I'm already itching to make merch. I can't wait to make t-shirts and mugs and stickers and whatnot. So we'd like to do that eventually. Probably going to talk about that in future episodes. And I really just want to know if people like what they hear. If you do, if you could just please tell your friends, because word of mouth still actually works. And I think I've repeated myself enough. Dad, so do you have any interesting facts to share today?
Yeah, sure. Certainly do. Here we go. The first ever speeding ticket was given to Mr. Walter Arnold on January 28, 1896. He was traveling in a horseless carriage at a blinding 8 miles per hour.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah, and what's really even more, a little bit interesting to it is the main ticket that he got was for traveling at a speed higher than 2 miles an hour.
And I bet he was going 8 miles an hour because there was somebody behind him going like 9 miles an hour and like screaming at him, even though there was like 3 lanes and they could just move.
Yep, amazing. That the other thing is everywhere in the world, there's rat problems. There is one place, Alberta, Canada, which is the largest rat-free area in the world, really. There's 255,000 square miles of Alberta has remained rat-free for decades. And it's the world's largest inhabited area without rats, like I said earlier. The Agricultural Pest Act of Alberta in 1942 required every person and municipality to destroy any animal designated as a pest and likely to harm crops or livestock.
Wow. I have mixed feelings on that, honestly, because I love rats. I know you don't like rats, but I really love rats. I've had pet rats. My daughter's had pet rats. I can understand not wanting to be infested, and I can understand that rats carry a lot of nasty diseases like plague and things like that. But I think it's really interesting how a campaign can just absolutely eliminate all of something. Like, what was the story from, was it China? How they eliminated all the sparrows or some sort of bird?
Yeah, it's a bird. Yeah, I'm not sure about that story myself. Yeah, you're right. It's interesting that they'd be able to take it to that level.
Mm-hmm.
But it's Canada.
Well,
So
yeah,
I guess they do things differently up there
they
than
do.
down here.
You know what they do? They say this would be a good idea, and they do it. It
They
doesn't
do
get
it.
lost
Sure.
in
Yeah.
doesn't get lost in debate for years and years and years. They're just like, you
Yeah,
know
and
what?
that's
Be a
yeah.
good thing if we didn't have any rats, eh?
Hey, hey.
And they just do it. It's like
Yep.
that commercial. You know that commercial? I don't even know what it's for. There's like a town meeting, and it's like civil workers from the town meeting. It's like reading the bill saying, it's a lot of words that say we should have clean water. What do you think? Clean water? Clean water? Yes? Okay. Sounds
That's
good.
clean water. That's right.
Oh well. So let's see. What do we got? Do we have more? Yes, we do. I like this one. Mexico's Day of the Dead parade. You know what that is, right? So apparently, this is something I learned. It didn't exist until it was featured in the James Bond film Spectre. You remember that scene where he's like,
Mm, yep.
I think he's either running away or chasing, and he's in the middle of this huge, like elaborate, sort of really festive looking Day of the Dead parade. And I think Mexico watched it and they were like, you know what?
Why don't we have one?
That sounds really fun.
Yeah.
Let's do that. I'm sure they based it on like Mardi Gras type celebrations, but
Mhm.
I really think it's interesting how it wasn't really a thing. I think they used to have small celebrations for Day of the Dead. I don't know all that much about Mexican culture, but I bet if I researched it, I'd find something similar too. They probably had small celebrations, to honor the dead. But then when they saw that huge party, I mean, who could resist
Anything for a party, I guess.
anything for a party?
Yeah.
And maybe James Bond will show up.
That's right. Maybe.
I'm not the biggest fan of the latest James Bond as like say the best Bond if you were to discuss who's the best Bond. But I mean he's not bad. He's good, he's nice to look at. He's a sexy man. But like, yeah, I'm sure, if Daniel Craig showed up at your party,
That wouldn't be a bad thing.
yeah, I wouldn't kick him out. Although I like Daniel Craig more as the detective, inspector, whatever he is, and Knives Out.
Knives Out. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that range better than the
Yeah.
James Bond thing. I'm glad he's showing his range. Shout out to Daniel Craig.
Yes.
We are not sponsored by the James Bond films, but
No.
why not? All right, so I suppose I should take this one too because it's up my alley. In the 16th century, chocolate was prescribed to treat angina, constipation, dysentery, indigestion, hemorrhoids, flatulence, and gout.
Okay.
Which is like, okay, so like I can understand constipation for some people, I guess, because there's a lot of things you can take in that would cure constipation as long as they disagree with your stomach.
Yep.
I don't know about dysentery. I mean, indigestion, I definitely don't reach for chocolate if I have an upset stomach, but maybe I should try like peppermint's more of a thing that actually works. But the gout thing is interesting to me because I know that over time, while they were trying to figure out gout, they prescribed just about anything you can think of that was really disgusting to treat gout.
To treat gout. Yeah.
Like, like bird hearts. You just like take the heart out of a living bird and you eat it. Or
Mm.
or like putting dead animals on your foot to treat the gout. Which also was like, I think that was a plague thing too. If you wanted to cure plague, you would strap a dead chicken to your leg, which I don't know why more people aren't doing that.
Well, it could be the transference thing. You know.
Right, right.
It's like yeah,
You're transferring plague to the chicken and then it's gone.
yeah, or
I
transferring it
mean,
to yeah.
transferring it to the chicken. I wouldn't be surprised to learn that it was also probably one of those like treats like things where they would go ahead and strap a rat to your leg if you have plague. If you figured that out.
Oh, good.
I mean, curing plague is a whole other thing, and that's like a multi-episode content, but there's a lot of terrible things that people decided to do to avoid the plague. But I did see just a little note about the plague. I did see an interesting map the other day, and it was a map of Europe, and it had like shaded areas where the plague was a big problem, and Poland was empty. It didn't have a shaded area in like all of Poland. If you know part of the history of the plague and part of the history of people, the Jewish people were persecuted like for centuries, and a lot of the Jews were sent or sort of forced into Poland during the time of a plague. But the Jewish people were kind of obsessed with cleanliness and kind of obsessed with hygiene. They also owned cats, a lot of them. And so it turns out that even though a lot of Jewish people were blamed for the plague and driven out of areas, it actually looks like they might have been okay because of their habits and because of the things that they did, because they're smarter. Shout out to my 5.9% Jewish heritage.
There you go.
All right, we got one more.
Yeah, Wonder Woman.
Oh, we love Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman, yeah. Especially she runs in slow motion. Wonder Woman was created by the inventor of the lie detector.
Oh, I love that. And we were talking about this before too, because Wonder Woman had that lasso.
Yes, it's the lasso of truth. Yep.
Where if she put the lasso of truth on you, you couldn't lie.
Right.
Which is really interesting, and I think a lot of women wish they had.
Yeah.
And it's probably pretty symbolic because it's like a lasso. Just rope your guy in and make him tell the truth. Or you can let everybody live the way they live. If somebody feels like lying to you, maybe just let them go.
And hope for their sake the pants don't catch on fire.
Oh my goodness. All right. So, and that leads us into the thing we have to do, guys. I'm sorry, folks.
Dad joke.
It's time. It's time for dad jokes. Yep. Okay, so I'll start us off, actually. I'll be the dad. What's the most condescending type of bear?
I don't know what.
A panda.
Chuckle.
Chuckle, har, har, har.
Or how do you win a country girl's affections?
Oh, that's a good one. How?
A tractor.
I love that one. That's actually pretty good.
Yeah. So anyway, there's hey, listen, there's more. There's always more.
There's always more.
Yeah, always more. There's got to be more. Last night I had a dream. I dreamt I was a muffler, and when I woke up in the morning, I was exhausted.
No.
No.
No, but yes.
Yeah. See that what and also this is sort of my thing. When I was younger, I used to be I had an addiction.
Oh.
Yeah, I was addicted to the hokey pokey.
Oh.
But then I turned myself around.
Well, that's what it's all about.
That's it. Yeah.
God.
And by the way, carpenters always do their level best.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
I like that one.
And you may notice it from time to time, maybe in our podcast, if we leave it in, is that sometimes, my tongue gets in the way of my eye teeth and I can't see what I'm saying.
That does sound like you.
Yep. And it's all because, I'm constantly getting my merds wixed. It's really kind of a common occurrence with me.
Yeah, and folks, he's always putting the accent on the wrong syllable too.
That's it. Yeah.
It's kind of a problem. That's all right. We'll get through it. And now, Dad, did you know how many narcissists it takes to screw in a light bulb?
No, don't.
So 1, the narcissist holds the light bulb while the rest of the world revolves around him. Yeah, that's
enough.
Yeah, that's more than I can take. I just can't anymore.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we did it. I think
Yep.
we made a show. Please send that email to Mocciaverse@gmail.com, MOCCIAVERSE@gmail.com, and tell us what you think of our little endeavor. And we're going to shout at you next time, where we're going to have an interesting story. Is that right?
Yeah, I think, first we're going to do a story about Yogi Berra.
Yogi Berra, not Yogi Bear, Yogi Berra.
Yes, Yogi Berra.
We're probably going to talk a little bit about Yogi Bear, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
All right, folks. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Daddy wasn't finding a bow wow. Daddy wasn't finding a bow wow. I love my little cat. I'm very fond of that. I'd rather
I'm glad the
Got-
lady tells me that
got
she's
it.
recording
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
because
So at least-
apparently I can't be trusted.